Oh, I should probably over here for when Aiden says he's gonna get here. And I'll just faff about a little bit. Hello, Slay. No, I didn't get sick again. I just, my throat still isn't like 100%. It's okay. It's not like it's bad or anything. I just, I can feel it a little bit, you know? One of those things. And just feel it. Very slightly. I want to show memes. I haven't showed memes off for a little while. I want to show a few memes while we're here. While we're hanging out. Let me pull these up. Is there a good way for me to do this without fucking everything over? Maybe? Ah, see, now that's the problem. Alright. Going to attempt to move all of these memes into my small window of the thing that I use for comments and stuff. I'm gonna do some, like, show-specific memes. Because there's been a couple since. And, or at least a couple that I see here as I scroll up. So I'm gonna show those off really quick. Because I like them. I like them all, but these ones are show-specific, so. Which sounds like I'm saying so specific, but I'm not. Also specific. But I'm not. And I think this one's technically wrong. Okay. Got lucky and got a jury duty today. Oh, that's sick. Awesome. Glad you got out of it. Fair enough. All right. So. Yeah, I know that says Big Buck Bunny, but that's because that's the ad that was on. I'll watch together. So this is the first one. It's the good old Simpsons with Garibay. I require budgeting advice. You see, my family is starving. I spend $250 a month on electricity, $200 on water, $400 on gas, and $2,000 on maps. And then it's Aiden. Why don't you spend less on gas and maps? No, I'm a DM. It's very good. That one was posted by, I want to say, yes, it was Pizza Funk. A good meme there. And then a couple from Con. One being this one. This one was for Aiden. Mom, can we stop and get some Daniel Radcliffe? We have Daniel Radcliffe at home. It's Monty, I think his name is, right? Monty? Pretty sure. Might be the only person that wants jury duty, but they won't take me. Well, I'm sorry, Lux. Petition more. You'll get there someday. And then this one was for Boo from Con, but I think Boo was talking about Kelly and not Monty, though I don't know for certain. And Boo won't be here today, so I can't ask him. But anyway, Barbara needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture. Yeah. That's a good one. I have too much to do at work. That sucks, Slay. Well, I hope it goes by fast, at least. Yeah, those are the memes that I wanted to show off. They're good stuff. I like those. Well, hello and welcome back to Table Talk, Discussion and Discourse. I, as always, am your host, Alejo, aka Radon95, and today it will be me, and Aiden will be joining me later on, and we'll see how it goes. Prepping for the new school year? Fair enough, yeah. I still need to sign up for my classes. I just did the FAFSA like 2 days ago, so I want to finish the fucking school year, or my schooling, so that I can stop having to worry about that. And then I'll have loans to pay off for the rest of my life, so it'll be great. Won't get there too crazy. No, Lux, you'll get there. Don't worry. So today's topic is various fixes for D&D 5e. That's going to be what we talk about today. And I have a few videos lined up. I don't know how many we'll get through. And we'll see. We'll see how long the show goes, because my voice might die. And I also have only had maybe 3 hours of sleep, maybe a little less. I honestly can't be sure anymore. I remember it being 3 a.m., and then it was time for work. So, you know. MIT, hundreds of Chromebooks to get ready. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. Huh? I hope that we can at least entertain while you do your things. If you're doing them now. If you're not doing them now, well, I hope we can entertain when you're doing your things. If you watch later as well. So let me pull up one of these videos. We'll get this one queued up. Actually, let's get this one queued up. Yeah. So we're gonna start off with a little video.
Hello, humanoid.
Shh. We're not ready yet. Oh my god. Calm down. We're gonna start with a little video that is from Halfling Hobbies. I don't know if we've covered Halfling Hobbies before. I don't think we have, to be fair. So we'll see. But let me just position this so that I can see the chat, or I can see my group chat so that I can see when Aiden gets on. I mostly just want to get to stay in a hotel room for free, but with my luck, it would probably be one of those trials where the jury stays in their own homes and just can't look at the internet. That would suck. Yeah. I didn't know they did that now, but that makes sense. But anyway, this is... Oh, not that yet. Oh my god. I'm fucking it up already. I'm so sorry, everybody. This is... why diseases do nothing in D&D 5e and how to fix them. Now, I don't know if any of you are aware, as you probably are, but in 5e, disease is one of those words that I never seen thrown around, because you have your good old paladins, right? And what they do is they go, what is disease? And then you say, well, it doesn't affect you. And then they say, well, now I can make it so that other people don't get affected. And you say, okay. As a DM. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just one of those things where disease is very lackluster in 5e. I've not seen it be something that is like looked at as something that is feared, I guess, right? As something that's a real threat. Now, is that because it's also dependent on the DM? Very much could be. If not, it's also just mechanically, it seems to be lackluster. But perhaps if you're playing with certain DMs, it might not be, you know? So I would love to see some fixes for it. And that's why I've got the video here queued up. Takes a week of falls apart. What? Takes a week of falls apart. A week off falls apart. Oh, yes. Yeah, I take a week off and I fall apart. Yes. Yeah. I almost took this week off as well because of my lack of sleep. Don't worry, I'm totally here and coherent, I promise. I had a cup of coffee like 4 hours ago, 3 hours ago. It's not helped. I'm falling apart. So, that being said, let us begin, and Aiden will join us at some point. Here we go. Oh, sorry. I wanted to say before we get into this, so I don't know necessarily how I would combat the lackluster effect of disease in 5e. I really don't have much of a investment in using them. They could be interesting in the sense of like going to specific places like a swamp, or like using the sewers and actually having it be consequential. Where like your well, it also could be that you're using your clerics to use their like lesser and greater restorations just to burn some spell slots and make them a little less viable in coming encounters and stuff, right? Not less viable, but you know what I mean. Have a little less to work with so that you can make things a little more challenging. But I also wonder if disease could be some of those like, we don't want to deal with this. It just is a thing that we could just go pop and it's gone. And especially with my paladin example, you pump 5 hit points into them and disease is just gone, right? It's like it never existed. So it just seems like one of those things that it's just kind of there in D&D limbo for 5e. Out of most of the status effects, I think I dreaded Exhaustion the most. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Exhaustion, again, is another one of those things that I barely see ever being like a problem. Unless you're a spellcaster that uses haste all the time on somebody consistently, in which case then they would become exhausted. But if you want to go like raw, exhaustion itself also, like, it's very hard to get exhaustion when you stay awake, at least in the beginning, because it's just 10, the DC is 10 for your constitution save whenever you do it. And then it's every 24 hours, right? Obviously, if you want to, use exhaustion in whatever else other ways, right? Whether that be what your what your players are doing in the game, like they go and help the farmer for their like activity in downtime, if you're using downtime in that way, or they roleplay through it, either way. And they take like a day to just move a bunch of like hay bales and shit. Hay bales? Was baling hay a thing when long ago? But I do tend to spring from some way to stop disease from being a concern for my character, even in 3.5. Yeah, this is the thing. I think it's become an overlooked thing because it just seems like busy work. At least in my mind, just looking at it from my perspective currently, disease really just feels like busy work and less like roleplay. Unless it is something interesting, like I guess like a disease of maybe it makes it so that when you're out in the sun, I'm trying to think of things that aren't going to be too detrimental, right? Yeah, I don't know. I think inherent diseases with like being a vampire, right? Like that already is like, oh, that's interesting enough because you have to deal with that and it becomes like a nighttime campaign, right? Where you don't go in the sunlight unless you're a character that can. But like making something else into a quote unquote disease, right? It because like what I did with Gimbal way back, right? In our first campaign for the Wednesday group was I turned my inability to show up into the blacking out and all that kind of stuff because of the wild magic that Gimbal had, right? Turning wild magic and using it as a roleplay thing, as well as kind of making it into a disease of some sort, right? And that was way more interesting to me, at least, than like, oh, you got gout, you know, something like that. For me, it's mostly because disease in 3.5 can be fairly dangerous with ability damage, so it's worth doing something to prevent it. Yeah, you know what, before we get too far in, let me look up and see if there are specific diseases in 5e. Because I don't even know if there are. Yeah, we'll use Roll20, that's fine. Yeah, okay, we have some sample diseases. Cackle fever, which gives you fever and disorientation, and you get a level of exhaustion that can't be removed until the disease is cured. There you go, there's something. Any event that causes the infected creature gets great stress. Forces them to make a Constitution saving throw. They take a D10 of psychic damage and become incapacitated with mad laughter for a minute. Holy shit, you can just completely not be in a combat for a minute. The creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the mad laughter. Okay, so it's at least it's every turn. Taking damage, experiencing fear. So you have to do it basically all the time. Okay. You can become infected if you're right next to them. Believe there are. Hey, how's it going? I know you. Whoa, it's like I could walk outside and anyway. Once a creature succeeds on the save, it's immune to the mad laughter for that particular infected creature for 24 hours. End of each long rest, an infected creature once selects beside blah blah blah. When the saving throw DC drops to 0, the creature recovers from the disease. A creature that fails 3 of these saving throws gains a randomly determined form of indefinite madness as described later. Huh? How do you make it go down? But on a successful save after a day of long rest, or after the end of each day of long rest, an infected creature can make the Constitution saving throw, and then they can drop it by a d6. Okay, fair enough. Sewer Plague also gives you exhaustion. Can't go below 1. Oh, I'm sorry. Suffers 1 level exhaustion. Regains only half the normal number of hit points. Okay, sure. This one also is Sight Rot. Makes it so you can't fucking see. Rare Flower can cure it. Lockjaw, diphtheria, typhoid. No. Gotta have dysentery. True. So it gives you 3 examples. So obviously you can come up with whatever. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. Unless it becomes a major, like, if this is part of your campaign, I don't see people using disease, right? And even in that kind of thing, again, if they have a paladin, it's gone, right? Like, you don't have to worry about the party having it. If they have a cleric, it's usually fine. It really depends on, I guess, if the DM makes them go into a plague-stricken area, quote unquote, right, where they have a large amount of the disease, where they can't go in there because they will get it, and it will be extremely bad, right? It seems like if you use it to the extreme, then it becomes less of just a thing that's to a hindrance, right? But that's only if you do it to that extreme. Oh, Aiden's here. Okay, hang on.
I redact my coward.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You, very, very nice of you. Hello.
There, the comment is deleted.
I did
Hello,
see that.
I'm your second host, Captain Chiral.
That's right. Hello.
Also,
Let me.
also, I have a brand new bit for you this week.
Okay.
It's the one where I join the call and immediately leave to go check on my rice.
Oh, what a bit. Okay. Oh, he's actually gone. Oh, he left. Damn, he got me with the bit already. Shit. Wow. What a guy. Love that guy. Uh but anyway, I'll ask him what he thinks about disease when he
I
gets back.
returned the
Oh,
second time.
how's your rice?
It needs like one more minute.
Oh, well, in that minute, can you tell me what you think about disease in 5e? If you have any thoughts.
uh, okay. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of diseases in 5e don't really. I've not seen them be impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they can affect people stats wise, like a little bit, but it just kind of like them having like oh I don't know. I'll use a disease from Skyrim, bone break fever.
Okay.
Feels more like flavor than it does actually something that is like crippling.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and I've not seen it be implemented in a way that seems like as like deleterious as it should be.
Sure.
And the closest analog to seeing disease done well is how we did corruption in a Curse of Strahd game.
Oh, hey. I didn't
And
even
with
do it that
that,
well.
I'm going to go check on my race.
Okay. Very good. For those of you who don't know, he's referring to when I DM'd Expedition to Castle Ravenloft, now known as Curse of Strahd. But Expedition to Castle Ravenloft was the name of it for 3.5. And I used the corruption mechanic in it to after a while they would get enough corruption to have a random like phobia or something. You know, it gets worse and worse the more the corruption gets up there. And it was really fun. I don't think I did it very well. I don't know. Skyrim, notice you have a disease, get to a shrine. Or you just cast the healing on yourself, right? There's cure disease, I'm pretty sure. And then it's just gone and you're fine. But you just see that little message sometimes in the top left, and then you go, huh. Basically the same thing for 5e, it feels like, I would say. But I guess, again, I haven't used it too much and haven't seen it so much because unless it is, like I said, extreme and actually is used as a blockade more than a status, it, you know, it isn't as used.
I return an additional time, this time with curry.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Well, welcome back with your curry.
Yes. Also,
Okay.
just as a quick heads up, I like will have to leave at like 8 or so my time,
Okay.
because I thought I had way more groceries than I did, and I need to run to the grocery store before it closes.
Okay. How long is
Actually,
8?
actually, actually, hold on. Let me see what time it closes.
Okay. How
Uh,
long do we have you then? Is my question.
well, I am searching that right now.
Okay. Because it might be a shorter episode anyway. We'll see.
Oh, perfect. Dude,
Potentially.
we are chilling. They close at 11 p.m.
Oh, sick. Okay. So, okay. Awesome. Well, if you get to a point where it's like, I think I should take it'll take me like an hour or whatever. I don't know how far away you are.
It'll take me like an hour total.
Yeah. So once you get to the point where you absolutely need to leave, if we haven't ended by then well, we'll figure it out.
Also, my new license came in the mail today.
Oh, that's good. Uh, I don't think I've actually found the spellbook for Cure Disease. I haven't specifically looked for it, but I haven't happened to find it. And even if I did, I might not spend money on it. That's why you steal it. Silly. Come on. Skyrim. Steal things. It's so easy.
Press X. Just if there is a cashier, just walk in and like all you need for everything in the store is the price of one basket.
That doesn't work anymore. They patched that out.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, they patched it out a long while ago.
Last time I played Skyrim, it worked, and like last time I played Skyrim was I think like 2017.
Yeah. It's 2022 now, Aiden.
Do you mean to tell me they continued patching it after like 2013?
Yeah, to everyone's dismay.
Why?
I don't know. It like came out like 6 more times.
Yeah, you're right.
um
Yeah. Don't remind me.
well,
You're go- I'm going to eat my feelings away now.
I would appreciate if before you did that, you get in the watch together.
You're lucky I like you.
You can't steal things. That's illegal. That's true, Lux. You're right. Skyrim is the ultimate form of morality. If you steal things in that, I can put you to death. It's very good.
Ooh, I get to pick a username. Uh, uh I'm doing my D&D character.
Okay. So I asked you about diseases because this video is called "Why Diseases Do Nothing in D&D 5e and How to Fix Them."
Yeah.
So we will see what Halfling Hobbies has to say about it. I don't know her real name. Maybe she'll introduce herself. Anyway, let us begin.
Hello, humanoids. Welcome to Halfling Hobbies. I'm Halfling Hannah, and I love monsters. There's no denying that they're a lot of fun to throw at your players. But there's nothing quite so satisfying as the look of terror on their faces as their friend wastes away to something that they don't understand and can't stop. The realization that all their training, all their skills can't save the people that they've come to love as family. Now that is a real plot twist. And wow, being a DM can send you to some really dark places. That is what I find entertaining. Oh, I might need some help. But
I don't know. Most DMs have a certain sense of schadenfreude at watching those power-hungry loot goblins that they call PCs, like, scratch their heads.
True. But I also just in like just slight counter just go, well, what if there's a paladin or a cleric? What are we doing if that's the case? Because they literally just cure things immediately. Unless we're going with things that can't be just cured by magic, in which case I go, okay, I'm willing to hear you out.
Yeah, like you can go the whole like cure disease like delays it.
True.
However, there was one campaign I did where there was one PC in particular, I forget who, but they had gained the ire of a night hag.
Oh.
And night hags will approach you in your dreams and give you bad dreams and deny you a long rest.
Yeah.
And literally, I did this to like a caravan that the party was like protecting, expecting that the PCs would kind of like move the NPC to their like wagon, which was kind of like a tavern on wheels. As it had like a pocket dimension inside it. And I was expecting they go, okay, they'll like give the NPC like an actual bed to like sleep on, have someone like watch over her or something. No, they didn't. And the PC wasted away 6 days later.
Nice.
Or not not PC, the NPC wasted away 6 days later.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, well, whatever. Then they went through an area that the people that had died in that area were getting turned to scarecrows, and there was one like a scarecrow more or less boss that I had based around Fiddlesticks from League of Legends. Whose whole thing was like crowd control, and boy, the party did not give him a chance to do crowd control. So in that scenario, everyone was the loser.
Well, see, this is the thing with that kind of thing. It's not classified as like a disease, but it acts like a disease would, and that actually makes it like better than a disease, because it's something that isn't something that you can cure magically, and it's not something that is inconsequential. Right?
The party paladin tried multiple times to cure disease, and I'm like, it doesn't seem to do anything. And they're like, what? And I'm like,
Yeah, see, this is because I was saying before, disease isn't really used like unless it's a hindrance or an obstacle, right? Like it is. This town is plagued with a disease. If you go in there, you will contract the disease, right? It's an obstacle because they need to get in the town. There's a disease in there. Right. But like with that, this is a thing that is happening that will fucking like do something bad. We got to figure it out. Like, let's actually figure this out and try to like fix it, because the disease itself would just be, I'm just getting a little tired every now and then. It's just, I don't know. It seems like a lot more. It has a lot more story potential, and a lot more RP potential, because you've made it so that it is, something that requires a lot more thought than, and a lot more like looking into than. Well, I guess you could do it with the disease itself. It really just depends, I guess. But I don't see it done with diseases. I see it done with something that can't be understood very easily. Which again, you could do with a disease, but disease isn't what pops up in my head. It's more of just like a monster does this, or something a god does, right? Like anything that is otherworldly in that respect.
So, like, I am a big fan of what I'll just call necromantic engineering. I like designing undead. Based around human corpses to like accomplish a purpose.
Sure.
So for instance, I had an undead that the necromancer like went up and down the dead person's like body with making incisions with his scalpel, and inoculating each incision with like a bit of like some E. coli here, some like I don't know, the rabies here.
Sure.
Like just to cultivate as many diseases as possible. Then he covered the undead with a cloak, because a zombie walking does not look too dissimilar from a drunk person. And had the zombie walk into the town well. And then boom, town well poisoned, town dead. But like, if you look at the diseases in the 5e, the best one to use in this scenario would be sight rot.
Yeah, exactly.
And oh boy, a creature takes a -1 penalty to attack rolls and ability checks that only rely on sight. At the end of each long rest after the symptoms appear, the penalty worsens by 1. When it reaches -5, the victim is blinded until sight is restored by magic such as a 3rd level lesser restoration.
Yeah,
or heal.
Very easy. Yep.
Oh boy,
And like, not to say that you can't come up with a disease in the 5e like respect and make it so that it's like more potent or anything like that. It's just the examples that we have are very much something that doesn't seem like it's anything really. And I guess it's more up to the DM to create something that is more potent if that's what they want. But like I said as well, a disease just feels like busy work. Whereas something with like the Night Hag, like you described, that feels more like an adventure to me. Or more like
you have to solve that by like you can't just find a flower or you can't do guesswork to go like cure disease.
Right.
Like you've got to actually do a bit of homework. And the party knew that a night hag was attacking because they had been attacked 3 times by her, and 3 times she had gotten away.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, I guess my overall point is diseases can act like that. You just have to work on them a bit. You just have to make it so that it's... But even so, it's one of those things where you have to now justify why does magic not work on it, because it doesn't, right? Like, why, though? You know, is this specific strain something that a god of, like, you know, pestilence went and created to be something that didn't get solved by magic and stuff? Like, you have to do a lot more work.
Has the bearer been given Papa Nurgle's blessing?
Exactly, right? And they don't want to be saved from it. But you can absolutely make a disease into that, but it's so much easier to take something outside of, like, microbiology and just insert a troll has like it's slowly regenerating whilst being fed to a town, right? And so it kind of takes over everyone slowly, and everyone kind of becomes more trollish, and then runs away and becomes
that'd be
a troll.
Cool.
Yeah, like so it makes it so that they all become trolls, and that can be your disease. Kind of. It's taking a monster and going, now it's a thing that it does something to these people, right? And that just seems a lot easier to do than just go, this disease is not able to be cured by magic. It needs this specific plant that is over here, or it doesn't use a plant at all. You have to do like 37 different weird things. Like, I'm hyperbolic, of course, but
if,
you know what I mean.
If you put like, if you're like, oh, one flower exists in a swamp at this location, like you're essentially just MacGuffining your players.
Yeah, in a way. And, like, sure, you can do that on occasion with some quests and such, but I don't know. The disease doesn't feel worth it to me, you know? It just... Unless, again, you're finding the cure for, like, the worst disease that your world knows of or something, and that's your overarching goal of, like, your story. But that's something more grandiose than it's just a disease. Right? Having just a disease that a player has to deal with just feels so inconsequential unless you make it a big fucking thing. And it's like, why? Unless I want it to be that big thing, why even bother? That's just how it is, at least in my mind.
By the way, as a quick side note, just to throw out there, the reason why throwing the NPC in the pocket dimension would have worked to help is because as a night hag, like strolling around in essentially the astral plane, cannot get into pocket dimensions.
Oh, there you go.
Unless if she returns to the material plane and then would obviously get seen walking into the tavern, she would not be seen, or she would not be able to get into it physically.
Right. Though I think canonically the Dragonborn might be kind of a shitter. Yes. I had fun writing a night hag once. Hello, Con. And also cool. That troll disease sounds almost like a transmutable curse. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
The troll disease sounds like you're like... Have you ever played The Elder Scrolls 3?
Morrowind? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So you know what Dagoth was doing?
Yeah.
he had essentially cursed everyone to become like kind of fragments of himself.
Yep.
And by doing that, he could ascend to godhood.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of like what you're doing with the troll.
Cool. I'll keep that tucked away for later.
Yeah, and it sounds rad as hell. You should have that troll when they do fight it. Like, have the troll like the party leaves the town one final time, and when they come back, the people of the town have let the troll go, and they'll be like, "Oh, he was talking a lot of sense." And then have people start like attack, like just randomly attack the PCs throughout the village, and like describe like, oh, you land a good blow and you see an arm, like you lop an arm off or a hand off, and then it starts to grow back.
Yeah, totally. What's Lycanthropy in 5e? Curse? I believe it's also a curse, yeah. You can resist it with a Constitution save, so I think it technically is also a disease, but dude, Lycanthropy is also like fine.
It's what we label as a quote unquote bitch ass curse.
That's right. That's true. Anyway, we were 43 seconds into the video. Let's continue.
I was laying in bed pretty much all week because I have been horribly sick this entire week. You can probably still hear it in my voice, and this is probably going to be a short video because it is incredibly difficult for me to talk. But as I was laying...
Can I just say, just wait to do your video then? I'm sorry.
Some people have a passion for it, dude.
I know, and I get that. And I also, like, my voice isn't 100% as well. But if it's that bad... I want you to feel better rather than make the video, right? I get the passion. I do. I suffer through for the podcast on occasions. I'm working off of less than...
We can't all be jaded assholes like you, Alejo.
That's right. That's me saying, please pay attention to your health and please put your health first. I'm just saying. Anyway.
There in bed, I thought to myself, why don't we use diseases more in Dungeons and Dragons?
Great question.
Why don't we see more of those things come into play? And then I realized it's because, well, they're kind of lame. And so this video is all about how you can start using diseases and curses in your campaign.
Oh, we get curses for free too. I didn't know this. This is good. Curses are fun. Curses, I feel, are more fun to use, honestly, because you can make anything into a curse, and then it becomes, like, a fun kind of quest thing. Like, I would call the Night Hag thing more of a curse than a disease.
Well, and that's the thing, too, because, like, if you think of the word disease, you go, yeah okay, so it's gonna, like, make things a bit of a slog for the player. It's gonna, like, slow down how their character performs and just be kind of unfun.
Right.
And then until they find a wisteria flower, and then and now they can make the cure.
That's good.
Yay, cool, I guess.
If they can't make it though, they have to go to a town to an alchemist who actually can make it for them because they have to be skilled enough to make it.
Yeah, but when you hear curse, you go, oh, well, a curse has a quest attached to it.
Yeah, exactly. And again, not to say that you can't do that with the disease. It's just the disease has a different mindset to it, it feels like.
Yeah.
And make them really awesome. So, here we go.
3 different fonts. Record it.
So let's talk about diseases. So I did a video, golly, it's gotta be like a year ago, before I had the studio, before I had the setup. I did this video on 5 diseases in Dungeons and Dragons, and that's pretty much the only diseases that D&D actually gives us.
I only found 3. Where'd you find 5? No, I'm confused.
Yeah, I found 3 on Roll20.
That's where I went too. 5e official diseases list and the GM binder, maybe? This might give me something.
They might have added more than like an add-on, like something people didn't read, like Sword Coast or Tasha's.
No, everybody read Tasha's. Don't forget that. Oh, this is unofficial stuff. Okay, I don't. Yeah. Anyway, okay. It's not in Sword Coast. I can tell you that. I read that.
And so if you want to check out those 5 diseases, the videos right there. Forgive the quality, please. I was beginning then. And really, they don't give you very many diseases, but they do give you kind of an idea of how to create your own. But
Right.
I mean, especially as new DMs, if you don't give me something, then I'm probably not going to play with it until later when I'm a little more comfortable with the whole process. And so now I've really started diving into diseases and curses in Dungeons.
I will say, typically, I tend to avoid diseases.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think that the 3 examples are really that great. Like, yeah, sure, they cover all the basics of like things you can throw at your players, which like kind of makes them effective as a tutorial, but like one of them mentions like which one was it? Was it Sight Rock? Oh yeah, Sight Rock can be cured using a rare flower. Like one of the 3 provides a cure.
Right.
One of the 3 like provides like DCs every day. Or actually, no, 2 DCs every day.
Yeah.
Regardless, or 2 of them provide DCs every day, I should say. Regardless, I don't think the spells that they have provided sound like they don't provide an interesting enough even name that I go like, oh, that'd be a cool thing. Let me homebrew that a little bit.
Right.
Like there's nothing that inspires joy.
This is kind of the why the approach to having a lot more examples and rules is kind of one of the things that we like to have, right? Because having all of these examples and all of these rules there for you to kind of chew on and really see how it's like how the system is can really help you with like developing your own kind of things. And without that kind of
grant me but one moment. I'm going to see how many diseases Pathfinder 2e has.
Oh, it probably has a few. If I had to, guess.
Yeah, I would guess it has a considerable amount. But let me see.
Yes, go for it. I'll just finish. That having a lot of examples is something that's very helpful for not only new DMs but experienced DMs just to play with that system. And so it's kind of one of the quintessential things that's kind of wrong with 5e is that the less there is to work with, and granted they are kind of adding more with more books, but the less there is to work with in specific areas, the less that we might even have the interest to dive into. And granted, that can be personal. That absolutely can be a personal thing, but it is something that is there that can be helpful for many people who aren't just us, right?
I don't know why I grabbed my book and decided to look through the index when simply Googling it would have been far and away quicker.
Probably, yeah. Everyone's sick this week. Aiden's not. They might only be 3 that are open game license and another 2 locked away inside the DMG/D&D Beyond. No, I think these ones are specifically, and I think this gives citations on this. Nope. Source, 5th edition SRD. That's the source for this. These sample diseases. No page number or anything, so I can't give it to you at the moment.
The diseases in Pathfinder 2e are addiction, bog rot, flypox, scarlet fever, tetanus, tuberculosis, void death, malaria, bubonic plague, Cositan Filth.
Sure.
Scarlet Leprosy, fuck you, Melania.
Right.
Bone Chill, Choking Death, Swamp Guts. This disease may contain spoilers from the Strength of Thousands Adventure Path. Blinding Sickness, Sewer Haze, Nightmare Fever, Flesh Gout, Brain Worms, Demonic Famine, Addictive Exhaustion, Blightburn. Blightburn Sickness, another disease that may contain spoilers, and Crimson Ooze.
So, plenty for you to play with, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, like, I hear Scarlet Leprosy, and, like, I get PTSD flashbacks of having my ass handed to me.
So yeah.
And then I want to do that to my players.
There you go, yeah. So it's just, and again, 5e is one of those things where it's not going to be very detailed in specific areas, because that's not 5e's thing. Not until they release a book that actually has more in-depth stuff like they did with Xanathar's, right? Which is unfortunate, but it's true. So, yeah, and again, it's one of those things where if we had more examples and more, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like there's enough for those samples. It really doesn't, because it really just doesn't inspire, as far as we're concerned, at least. And if it does inspire you, that's great. I really hope that it does inspire a lot of people. But anyway,
dude, Scarlet Leprosy.
Yeah.
Stage 3. Every time you gain the wounded condition,
yeah,
you gain you take an additional 46 bludgeoning damage.
Oh.
And can't heal any hit points.
Oh. That's very bad, yeah. Vargulis.
Like, you know, like, I don't know, like, conversely, a sight rot. Take a -1 to your sight checks and ability scores, up to a max of -5.
Oh, really? Just -5?
Until, yeah, and they're blinded until, like, they have someone cast Lesser Restoration on them.
Yeah.
Which, like, don't get me wrong. I get the fact that someone casting 3rd level magic in a lot of D&D games is kind of like godly.
Sure.
And a lot of a lot of NPCs may not have access to a cleric that can cast 3rd level magic.
Sure, yeah.
However, the party does.
More than likely. Yeah. Yeah, again, feels just inconsequential, and it's just like a little, here you go, have this. Let's keep going. You know?
Yeah, it feels like handing someone like a little folded index card as like a note, being like, you have this now, and they go, oh, cool, and they just kind of set it in front of them and then forget about it.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, and oh my gosh, they can be so much fun. But why don't we use them? Going back to our first question, as I was laying there on my deathbed, why don't we use diseases in D&D? Well, the answer is they're super lame. And almost all of them can be cured by the paladin ability of Lay On of Hands, which they get at like second level.
Yep, 5 points, Lay On Hands.
Yeah, they get it immediately, and then they also later on will have an aura that makes it so that they are immune, and so other people can then be immune later, I believe, and yeah. I could be wrong about them having an aura that makes other people immune, but they get immune.
Yeah, they get immune. I know that because I am a 15th level paladin a campaign. But I don't think, unless if the mistake is on my part.
I could be mistaken, absolutely, and I would gladly be corrected. That's fine. What doesn't change, though, is that your Lay On Hands gets even better as you get to higher levels, and so you can continue to do that to people to get rid of the disease.
It doesn't get better. You just get 5 times your paladin level.
That's what I mean. You get more uses of it, I guess, is a better way to put it.
Yeah, you don't get better like 3 points to cure a disease,
right.
but you do get more of it.
Yeah. So you can do it to more people. Good evening, all sentient life forms. Hello, Indigo. How are you?
Greetings. Welcome.
But yeah, unless I'm wrong about that aura thing, because I could have sworn they get shit tons of auras as far as I remember. But
yeah, Oathbreaker paladins don't have it. Let me check just which
I can
of
get my
course
book.
Oathbreakers
It's
have.
over here. Hang on. I will get my book open.
No, I'm already.
Yes, well, I'm already here.
Aura of protection, aura of courage. Yeah, aura of protection and aura of courage.
Okay.
At 6th
Maybe it's
and 10th
a specific
level.
one that I'm thinking of, perhaps a specific subclass. But I could also just be entirely wrong. In which case, I retract.
It could be a particular subclass. I won't say definitively for every paladin ever. I will just speak for at least paladins base don't get it, and neither do they get it if they're specifically Oathbreakers.
Yeah, exactly. So I retract until I can get a better example of it, but I don't think I'll have a better example of it. Anywho, let us continue.
Now, of course, if you don't have a paladin in your group, then diseases can become a little more dangerous to low levels, but even still, it is low levels. At higher levels, you have to literally have 0 magic ability in your party for diseases to be actually threatening. And so it feels like...
Can we go back to the low level part, though? Because just because they're low level doesn't mean that it's less... Because I'll be fair, if I got the sight rot at a low level, my character is not going to be able to do shit for a long while. Right? Like, that's pretty debilitating unless we then, it would become a quest at that point, right? Low level stuff, it would become a quest of like, we have to cure his blindness. Let's go.
If you're 2nd level and like someone gets sight rot, like I guess just like leave them in the tavern while like that PC gets like a temporary character to like delve into a swamp, I guess.
It becomes, instead of you playing that character, you don't play that character for a little bit, right? Because you don't throw these things at a PC at low levels usually, because it could seriously just debilitate them entirely. And then it's like, well, I don't want to play this character really at this point.
You want to throw challenges at your player that the party has a good chance of overcoming.
Yes.
And a lot of diseases just feel like simply luck of the die.
Yes.
Which is not inherently fun. Also, if they can just go like if your disease that you throw at them can just be invalidated by a 3rd level spell slot, like who cares?
Yes. Exactly.
So you as DM are thrown into the position of I can't issue my players a challenge. I can only issue them an inconvenience.
Yeah. With a disease usually, yeah.
Yeah. Which doesn't lend itself to making games more fun usually. Yeah, like your mileage may vary, all parties and all campaigns differ.
Mm-hmm.
But by and large, I feel comfortable saying, like, if all you're doing as a DM is, like, making something a bit of an inconvenient slog, like, that's not going to make your game more fun or more memorable. No one's going to go, hey, remember that time, like, Godric got Scarlet Rot? Like,
yeah. Woo! Man, that was great. Almost died about 5 times.
Remember that time Henry got that bubonic plague and
Yeah.
then nat 20 his fortitude save? Like, no one's gonna talk about that. That's not making memories. That's not making fun encounters.
Yeah.
Whereas if you say you pick up a cursed item,
Yeah.
and this item resists remove curse,
Yeah.
then it goes, oh fuck, we got a quest ahead of us, boyos.
Right.
And the quest brings with it the promise of interesting encounters.
Yes, very true. Very true.
Which is why people feel in general better about curses than diseases.
Yeah, disease means you go to the hospital and nobody likes waiting in the hospital waiting room, all right? Like, that's just not fun.
Unless you got like a fun social encounter with the meth head in the emergency room.
Right, exactly.
Then like no one cares.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Varghouls are detached head monster with bat wings that kisses you and causes your head to transform into one of them and pop off in a few hours to days. That's true. I remember that now. Yes. Tends to be a thing with D&D that some things are either completely debilitating or completely ineffective, depending on whether they work or not. So, yeah, it does. It's just a thing, you know? But you gotta find that balance. That's just kind of how it is. And through the revolving door, off to work. See you, Lux.
Yeah.
Good work.
Like D&D has kind of just eliminated the threat of diseases as a whole in Dungeons and Dragons, which is super lame because, I mean, the idea of having this great and powerful barbarian be taken down by a disease is kind of cool to me, and I kind of like that concept. So today we're going to look at how you can create diseases in Dungeons and Dragons and make them awesome and epic again. So if you like this idea, make sure that you like and subscribe to Halfling Hobbies because I do stuff like this all the time. First thing you need...
Sure.
So, two things of note. The first of which is, yes, a barbarian being, like, taken down by a slow, creeping illness. Like, it's like Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, like, it's definitely notable when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, given the context, or given the, the cultural context that we just kind of left, still in the middle but just kind of left, and are going to be going into again in a couple months with monkeypox. I don't know how about I am the vibe of someone saying make diseases great again.
Sure.
To decide for your disease is incubation time. How long is it going to take for symptoms to start appearing? Now, the quicker your incubation time, the less time that your players have to figure out what's going on and try and find a cure for it. So honestly, the more immediate the threat. However, if you have a disease that has a longer incubation time, it could be really difficult for your party to figure out even how they got the disease in the first place and then how to cure it, which can create kind of this slow burn in your campaign.
With something like a longer incubation time, I feel like having it be a thing that makes it like similar to something that they've encountered before, in the sense of like if they got it from a specific thing, it makes them act more like that specific thing. That makes it easier for them to kind of figure it out. It might take them a little bit to get there, but that'll make it so that you don't have to worry about them like never figuring it out, you know? Because it might be sessions upon sessions away from when they initially got it, and then it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. Like, most players generally aren't the best with total recall of what's happening in your games.
Yeah.
Again, your mileage may vary.
Sure.
But like, as tempting as it would be as a DM to go, ha, I'll wait for something that has an incubation time of a month and then they definitely die. like as tempting as that is, think of how not fun that's going to be.
Right, exactly.
Additionally, I would say that because of like them like perchance not remembering, a faster incubation time is more convenient as a DM in order to help tell a story. So like make the incubation time like 2 or 3 days in game.
Right.
Make it like the flu.
Sure.
But like if you have an incubation time of like 2 weeks, like if the players are on the road to the next town and they're like, oh yeah, this so and so, you start getting a cough. Make an intelligence roll and see if you can figure out how you got sick. Like, not only do you have the issue of a lot of diseases are just a very simple, like, oh, do you roll the fortitude save to pass the DC?
Sure.
Which is essentially just a dice check.
Yeah.
You then additionally make identifying the cause of the disease also a dice check, which is kind of compounding your problems.
Right, yeah.
And as a DM, it's really not the easiest way to tell a story.
No, I'd agree. Yeah, if we're gonna have it be like a short incubation time, I also think that we have to have, like, it's gotta be just a short-term problem that we can just get rid of in that same session, probably, if that's what we want to do with it. Because, like, and at that point, it's like, why even bother, right? Unless it's something for thematic purposes or for the story itself, where it's like, I'm contracting this, maybe it's like a heroic gesture that somebody will contract it because they need to find the cure, and the only way to do so is to get it and then study it that way or something. I don't know. That makes it more grandiose, though, right? Like, it's a whole thing of, like, if it's going to be something that's very short incubation time, then it's either going to be something that is extremely, like, it's probably not going to matter in the long run, or it's, you know, something that is part of the current quest, right?
That's kind of like, I wanted to make like a doctor in one of my campaigns. So I made a lich who saw death itself as nothing more than a disease.
Sure.
To be cured.
Yeah.
So he died and became a lich. And was like, now I can study death.
Yeah.
I have like chickens essentially that I absorb the souls out of to sustain myself. I have a never-ending farm of death.
Yeah.
He went around and he explored like battlefields because he's like, do doctors not go to areas where there's lots of sick people?
Right.
So like something you can do as a DM is to like make like take a problem that's not truly a disease. But make people think that it has a disease because, you know, they're fucking medieval society, like dipshits.
Yeah, true.
Or have things that are diseases, but people don't think they're diseases. They think you're just being a little bitch.
Well, like, yeah, absolutely. That's like what I did with Gimbal, where he had his wild magic, and it was like basically a disease to him. He wanted to get rid of it, and he wanted to find ways to like suppress it and all that kind of stuff. Like, that was his whole thing after a while, because, you know, that's the way that I took that character, and it was just like, it was so much more interesting to kind of do that, and actually use it that way. And like, still utilize the magic and stuff, but have that end goal of like, I want to get rid of this shit. I gotta get it out of me.
No one likes wild magic,
right? Yeah, that's the thing with people that are like wild magic users that are actually like into it. I'm just like, oh man, that's you're psychotic, I guess.
Yeah.
actually a psychopath, I guess.
You have actual problems, not the least of which is your wild magic.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
However you want to do it, what I normally do is I roll a d4 or d6.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see this. Incubation time, we call that onset in Pathfinder 2. There you go. She's got a good word, but it has bad mouthfeel to me. Don't like her mouth words. I don't like mine either. Well, you know.
On what I want to do, and I choose either minutes, hours, days, or weeks. And whatever number it is, that is how long it takes for the incubation time in that particular person. So if you roll a 4 and you decide on...
I don't think I want to do random incubation times between different amounts of dice, as well as like different amounts of weeks, I guess. Different time periods. Because yes, while it might be true that that's the way that, you know, some diseases work in real life, even though I like realism in my games, I don't know if it's necessary to complicate things further for me as the DM to go, this time you got the chicken pox and it'll incubate in 30 days, and for you it'll incubate in 2 weeks, right? Like I don't know. It's just, I know it's inconsequential, but at the same time, I feel like it's also inconsequential to just do that, not just have it be, it incubates in this amount of time.
Yeah, and like, it can also feel kind of unfair to the players at the table. Like, oh, what the fuck? Why did I get chicken pox before he did?
Yes, exactly.
Minutes, then literally 4 minutes later, they begin to develop some of the symptoms. Or if you roll a 4 and you choose weeks, then it's 4 weeks later that they begin to develop those symptoms. And you need to make a note of that as a DM so that you can be sure to bring that up at the appropriate time. So the next part you need to decide is symptoms. So all diseases have symptoms, whether they're super subtle or very, very obvious. A lot of them have fever, chills, runny nose, sore throat. I'm just listing off symptoms that I have this week. But some of the symptoms are very common and are found among most diseases, and some of them are very, very specific to a certain kind of disease. In the video that I did of the 5 diseases in D&D, eye rot is one of them, where it literally causes bleeding from the eyes. That is a very obvious symptom for that disease. So what you want to do when you're coming up with your own disease is decide, okay, what are some of the early symptoms that could be pretty much anything, and then what is the one big symptom that if I told a cleric who's, you know, all about this stuff, I told them, hey, I have this symptom, they're gonna go, oh, I know exactly what you have.
So I think before we even get to symptoms, we have to figure out how to cure it. Because what if I make my thing so that you like the symptoms, like, because this depends on my world, right? And it depends on how they deal with disease and stuff in that world. If they have access to a lot of magic in this world, then they would just immediately go, oh, I'm feeling sniffly, I'll cast lesser restoration on myself and now I'll be fine, right? Like, this is something that is abnormal to me, I want it to be gone, and then they will do it, right? Like,
when third level magic is an Advil.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I guess it also depends on if they have, you know, if they go to see a doctor, right? And I think, honestly, for most PCs, unless you have them, like, really in the world, they'll probably turn to magic first. So they probably won't go for the doctor route unless it continues to persist. Which is fair enough. Like, that's how you get it to be more of a threat, right? But, if you have them go to a doctor, like, because magic isn't a cure-all, and then you can go through this kind of step-by-step process, like, this all really depends on your world building and how you want to deal with this kind of stuff. So I really think that it's important to come up with that first, so that you can plan for these kinds of symptom things and, like, understand how your players are going to react to them, hopefully, and so you can kind of prep that beforehand, if they were to ever get there, to have a disease.
So what is that symptom for your disease? And then finally, of course, you want to think about the cure. Now, here's the problem. Most diseases can be cured by the Paladin's Lay on of Hands abilities, which they only have to have 5 Paladin points. What do you want to call them? I don't even know what to call them. I call them Paladin points.
Sure.
But you only need 5 Paladin points to be able to cure any disease, which is ridiculous.
Points, canonically.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, that's right. It is good boy points. We all know this.
Absolutely ridiculous, and I feel like needs fixed to make diseases viable. But it doesn't have to be the case. You don't have to let magic be the get out of jail free card for your players. What if your disease is actually one that has been sent by an angry god?
I literally can't. I literally said this. Oh my god. Why do I do this? See, again, now I'm just thinking about all the work that I have to put into this to justify it, right? Because not all the time, but somebody might get a little bit, like, upset or something. And I'm just like, okay, well, we gotta do this. But it depends on the table, of course, and all that kind of stuff. But also, like, it becomes so much of more of a bigger thing in that case, right? Because that seems like something that would be known about. You get this disease, and because other people have this disease and they transmit it somehow, and this is something that would be probably studied by not only medical people but as well as like religious people in your world to go, this is the coming of this god, or this god has been in this area, or their followers maybe, right? And something to that effect. It just starts.
That'd be cool. Like, such and such has probably been in the area. Like,
yeah. So like, it becomes a bigger thing. It's not just a disease at that point. It is a harbinger of a god. Or something. Sign. Yeah, exactly. An omen to that god, right? Like, and like, that's cool. Don't get me wrong. That is super cool.
Or even make it a disease that is super slow, like it's a slow but sure progression.
Yeah.
So it starts out with like them having like a persistent cough.
Sure.
And a like a -2 to stealth rolls because of that. Which like inconvenience, but like no big deal.
You can deal with it.
And then like it slowly starts ramping up.
Yeah.
And the whole time players are racking their brains, hopefully, trying to figure out what's wrong, and they go to a cleric in town and says, that is a weird disease. I don't know, like, go to this library or something located in the capital. They go there, they do a ton of research, they find out, oh wow, this disease hasn't been around since such and such walked the earth, who was a key paladin to this god of disease, and rumored to be unkillable, that he would re-arise, and what do you know, current year.
Well, so you're absolutely continuing my point of like, this has become so much more than a disease. This isn't a disease anymore. This is your plot hook. Yeah, this is a curse. Absolutely, it has become a curse, and it has become your campaign more so, or at least a goal for a character in that campaign. It isn't a disease like in the traditional sense of like, this is something that you need to go deal with. Right, at least in the definition that I'm kind of working with, as well as I think most people think of when they think of diseases in D&D. They're something that can inconvenience you or hinder you greatly, but they aren't something that's gonna like usually lead to something that's very, very bad, and can be taken care of as long as they find the right cure. But it's not something that can span across a whole campaign usually.
Maybe they have a restless sleep one night, and the god says, give in to the disease for some power. You have my mark.
Yeah.
And the PCs are like, what mark are you talking about? It's like that little tickle in the back of your throat.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Like, God, we're just doing a fucking fanfiction
I'm doing
for
a
Nurgle.
Nurgle campaign
Yes,
now. Fuck it.
it is a fanfiction
Fuck
for
it.
Nurgle. Absolutely. No, that's fine. I know. But yeah, it's again, it's become so much more, right? Which is good to do, absolutely. But it's not just a fucking little disease that you're working with now.
Perhaps it's a celestial disease, that there is no mortal magic that can fix it. They have to seek out this deity's will and do whatever it is that this deity is commanding in order for them to take away this disease from a particular person or from an entire region. If you want to make this a plot point, which diseases as a plot point are excellent. And
this seems to be the only viable way to use diseases in D&D now. This is my whole issue. Diseases are either it's fucking whatever, or it's your entire like adventure for however long you want it to be, whether it be campaign wide or whether it be like a few sessions, right? Like we can't just have a simple disease anymore, because either it's going to be just I don't care about this, or I really 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 have to care about this for a long time. Which again, nothing wrong with the second option, but the first option is usually meh.
Really, really bring some weight to the situation, because it's not just the players now that they have to worry about. They have to worry about all the people, which is big responsibility. So if you want this god to lift their curse from a whole region, maybe you have to go and find a stolen artifact and return it to their shrine, and then they will lift the curse of this disease. Don't be afraid to make it to where magic isn't the end-all be-all. Perhaps some adventurers opened a crypt. Maybe it was even your adventurers. Perhaps they opened a crypt and they unleashed some kind of ancient curse or this ancient disease.
Make your players do a Steve Urkel and be like, did I?
Yeah, exactly.
That was around before magic was even a thing, and magic can't cure it. How are they going to fix it? Well, perhaps the cure in this case could be finding I don't know, I'm still sick, I'm tired. They could find something to fix it.
Yep.
But if you want diseases to be a more intricate part of your plot and not just be something throwaway that your paladin comes up and goes, I do lay on of hands, and they're all better, then you're gonna want to intertwine that more in your campaign or in your plot. Otherwise, diseases are going to be relegated pretty much to low-level parties. Yeah, they're a threat for low-level parties.
Yeah, exactly.
Your higher level...
Yeah, they just become irrelevant after a while. So it's like, why even bother? That's the whole point.
I really do mean what I say when they go from like critically bad to an inconvenience.
Yeah, absolutely. And this doesn't feel like a fix. This just feels like how do you make a plot hook out of a disease, right? It's a different thing than fixing how diseases work in the system. But I don't think there's a good way to like do it that isn't just going to be annoying, and I don't want to have it be annoying, so I'd rather not like have to deal with them, really. I mean, having the roleplay element of having my characters, whenever they go through a sewer and then just go, hey, can somebody lesser restoration me real quick, I just don't want to get a disease, like having that just be a thing that I do is fine with me, so that I just acknowledge the existence of disease. But also, like, if it never becomes an issue ever, I'm also fine with that. Because it's fine. I'm either a god's chosen or I'm just really cool. I'm not a peasant.
They're just gonna, cast a major restoration or something like that and be done with it. Unless, instead, you use curses. So curses are like the diseases, but for higher level parties. At least that's how I like to think of them. In my particular campaign,
they don't go away.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
They don't go away when you roll a high fortitude save.
It's true. But I feel like you could use it for anything. It's just really how bad do you want to make the curse? You can fit a curse to any level very easily.
a group that, let's say, enjoys the more illegal things in life and will literally steal anything that is not nailed to the floor. And so to let them know that perhaps they shouldn't just take any magical item from any shop for any reason, I put a curse on one of the items. And of course, they immediately put it on and attune to it without seeking out any kind of identify spell or anything like that, just like I knew they would. It's a golden snake bracelet that looks like a snake that's all coiled up. You put it on, and after you attune to it, it actually unwinds and slithers up your forearm and bites into the skin. And then after 1d4 days, it begins the process of actually turning the player into a Yanti, which is a snake person.
Neat. Good curse. I like that.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, really good.
I'm so glad I came up with it.
And so right now, this high elf noble is panicking because he's turning into a snake person, and he's not excited about that. But that is a cursed item. This curse has now led them down a whole rabbit trail of things, trying to figure out what this thing is, how they can fix it, and if there's anyone around who can do that, or where they need to go to be able to fix it. That has been really, really, really fun and satisfying for me as a DM. Sorry about ya, my players. But these curses, magical items, curses from the gods, curses even from devils, perhaps someone made a deal and negated on that deal, and so they've unleashed a curse upon their family or their hometown.
Oh good, it's a blue beam in a city. Great. Sorry.
Negated?
Yeah, I assume she just misspoke and meant like neglected.
Reneged?
Maybe. But just
is it reneg or renege?
I couldn't tell.
Reneg.
Okay. But yeah, so this we've already, so before we were talking about diseases and how they became a curse, so it just became just a curse, and that's how we made it into a big plot point for a whole campaign, right? Literally in the video. And so and that's a way to fix them. So basically, make your diseases into curses. Just do that, and then you're good, because then it becomes a whole fun adventure. Yay! And that's how you make it work. That is what I've learned, and I don't disagree with it. It's the only way to really make it work, I think.
I would be willing to be proven wrong, but I'm gonna have a real hard time finding reasons myself.
Exactly. Like it is like relegating it to a quest or a campaign hook or any of those kinds of things like that, making it bigger than just a disease is like probably the most fun way that I can make it work, so that I don't have it be so debilitating and annoying to my players, as well as we can have fun with encounters and set pieces and new NPCs and all this kind of stuff that we can just have a good time with and do that for a few sessions or a whole campaign. It just seems like a way better way to use diseases than to make something tiny that just goes meh, and then you go no, and then they go okay. That's it.
Yeah. Understandable. Have a nice day.
Yes.
Curses like that can also make incredible plot points or side quests or however you want to deal with it that add some weight and some danger to the game that wouldn't be there otherwise. Yes, monsters are fun, but monsters are a clear end point. It's very obvious what you can do to stop a monster. You kill it. It's not so obvious what you need to do to cure a disease or a curse. It requires more investigation. It requires more effort than simply slay the beast. I love monster hunts, you know that I do, but sometimes it's really intriguing and super fun to throw in a disease or a curse to your players to get them thinking, to get them problem solving, and maybe even to move your plot ahead to wherever it is that you're going. Anyway, I most certainly am going to be using diseases and curses even more in my campaigns than I already am. I hope that you found this helpful and enjoyable. Let me know what diseases and curses that you create for your campaign and how it all works out for you. I would love to hear those down in the comments below. Also, if you want more diseases, I'm currently working on a whole little book of diseases and random curses that I will be putting out on my Patreon page. So make sure that you go over support Halfling Hobbies on Patreon so that you can get some really cool exclusive content every month. And until next time, my friends, may your game have advantage. Halfling Hannah here, signing out.
Nice. Thank you, Hannah.
It was a rare example of a video in which I have no contentions with what was stated.
Exactly, right? I just have, like, the one that I had was the randomness of incubation time with dice.
Yeah.
But that wasn't, that was just, for me, I just don't think that it'll be good.
That's just sort of a style points thing.
Yeah, and I just don't want it to feel unfair and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like that's just like, it's not objectively wrong, it's just not my DMing style.
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely not the way that I would do it, and that's just kind of it. So yeah, that was a good video. Go check out Halfling Hobbies. Link will be in the description for the video, as well as you can go find the channel through that. In fact, I'll do that right now into this video, this stream. If you want to go over there now, you definitely can. And if you want to leave us forever, well, that's up to you, isn't it? So
don't go. I crave the approval of total strangers.
That's right, he does.
Don't.
There's nothing that I can do to help him.
What if as soon as you leave, I stop existing because I'm no longer in your mind?
That's right. That could happen.
Don't do this to me.
Well, existentialism aside,
there it is, the sweet release of death.
Let's have a moment for our midpoint of shoutouts and chill talk. Oh my god, it's been so long since we've done a proper one in the midpoint. Wow. Let me get this up here. There we are. So, hello. We have a Patreon as well. If you would like to contribute to it, it is up to you. Also, please be, consider yourself first, and it's not an obligation and all of that. And we have some lovely patrons who do so for some reason, and we'll shout some of them out. You get a shout out if you're tier 2 and up. That's just the way it works. If you look at the thing, it's clearly written there. Anyway, that is from the top. Draco Kraken at tier 4. Thank you. Mog Zero at tier 4. Thank you as well. Rick, aka Unit Rico, at tier 4. Thank you. Slazer at tier 4. Thank you as well. Steely at tier 4. Thank you. Drake Cross at tier 3. Thank you as well. Chris at tier 2. Thank you. Frozen Spaghetti at tier 2. Thank you as well. Kill Chrono at tier 2. Thank you. Lux the Oracle at tier 2. Thank you as well. I'm sorry, we're at 12 now? That's Polyhedral at tier 2. Thank you. Wait, is that? Oh. There we go. Polyhedral was on there, not active right now. I see. Never mind. It was also okay. Anyway, Polyhedral was in tier 2, but thank you for that when you were. If you're not anymore, that is okay. Do not worry about it. And then last but not least, of course, our tier 1. Thank you as well. So yeah, appreciate y'all. And if you've ever supported and ever ever even watched the show at all, you're appreciated in everything. So thank you. Other than that, over here, you can go to TeePublic. There's a link in the description. You can get our logo on a shirt, or you can get our logo on any of their various goods. So please do, if you would like. If not, that is also fine. And then, last but not least, you can go over to Humble Bundle using our link in the description below. And if you buy things through it, you support us, as well as Tabletop Alliance, the charity that we support that uses tabletop games as well as D&D and other things to D&D is also a game, so I don't know why I specify.
Us
support
as we then put that money back into the community. So
that's right.
You support us supporting you
That's
while
true.
also supporting charity.
That's also true. Yes, the link to is in the description for Tabletop Alliance. Right now,
that's like 3 supports for $1.
That's right. There's a deck builder bundle. That's the Shadowrun TTRPG that I just have seen. I'm going to buy this later. This is $18 for 17 items, and it's all current Shadowrun stuff. So don't mind me as I put that down so that I don't fucking forget.
Make sure you use our link. That way, like, you get paid while paying them. Like, it's basically free.
That's it. Well, anyway, not entirely true. But
unrelated, but I failed economics.
This is not financial advice.
Oh God, no, it isn't.
So yes, thank you to everybody who supports us in whatever way you can, whether it be paying the Patreon or just watching or liking or commenting and all of that kind of stuff. All of your support in whatever form means the world. So, that being said, the world is dead, and we will continue. So, I think that we'll go for another shorter video, and we'll see how far we get. But this seems rather appropriate, and I was hoping you would be on for it, specifically.
God damn it.
It is why Alchemy in D&D 5e is so terrible, and how to fix it by Luke's Homebrew. All I see you as is a chemist. That's everything that you are to me.
That's everything I am, to be fair.
That's true.
Right.
So you are all that you are that you is.
Yes, capture me and set me free, yes.
Yes.
Please do.
So, as said before, this is why Alchemy in D&D 5e is so terrible, and how to fix it by Luke's Homebrew.
Okay, I just won't have water.
Would you? Well, you can go get some water before we start.
I meant like the seltzer to drink at work. I'll just drink tap water like a filthy casual. I can't miss this one.
Okay, here we go.
The chemist in me would roll.
I understand. Here we go.
All right, let's all admit, alchemy is hard. Actually, that'd be the OChem class I got a C in last semester. But whatever. What I meant to say is that pretend is hard. And honestly, D&D is...
You know what? Real talk, though, if you get a C in OChem, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So long as you get enough of a grade to go on to the next class, like, okay. Literally, the job I currently have...
Yeah.
My boss was like, started out the interview by going, so I asked this to everyone who has like a chemistry background.
Right.
OChem. And I started like immediately smiling. He's like, how'd that go for you? And I'm like, oh yeah, it was and I wanted to do the thing where in an interview you project the best parts about yourself. So I was like, oh, it was hard at first. It kind of made me like reframe how I thought about chemistry. But like after that, it wasn't too bad.
Right.
And he's like, oh wow, so you passed it the first time, and I'm like, I did not pass it the first time.
Yeah.
He's like, to be fair, like half of our applicants didn't pass it the first time. Like, dude, so long as you got the grade that you needed, fuck it.
There you are. Chemistry advice from a resident chemist.
About OChem, not about chemistry in general, but
right.
about OChem.
Sorry. About OChem itself. Sorry. Let me be specific before you start going to him for advice.
Best form of playing pretend I think that exists, and I have no shame in obsessing over it every single day. But alchemy and D&D is such a tough subject. I mean, other fantasy games can do it. Look at Skyrim. You're going around picking up every plant that's interactable. You don't even know if it's interactable until you just throw your cursor over it. Character tastes it, then you end up brewing some infinite XP and damage potions. Okay. So D&D, you can do that too, but the problem lies with the fact that unless you, the DM, have your master's in biology with a focus in botany.
No, you don't need that for alchemy.
Additionally, you are ignoring the fact that alchemy is deeply rooted in magic.
Yeah.
Like, alchemy is not chemistry.
No.
I am a big nerd for both because I'm a nerd.
Let me tell you about the humors, friend.
But like, do you know the reason, actually, Alejo, why I decided on being a chemistry major?
I don't think so. Now I'm very interested.
So it occurred to me that the closest analog that we have to do actual magic is chemistry.
That's true.
And I was like, you know what? I want to be a magician. I want to do like actual magic.
Oh my god.
Like,
don't take this the wrong way. That's adorable. I think that's adorable. Continue, please.
Like, I didn't like how the bio department was run, and I was like, you know what? I'm equally good at biology as I am at chemistry. Plus, I get to be a magician. All right.
All right, fair enough. I respect that. I do. But
sound like you respect it.
No, I do. I really do.
No, I'm fucking.
Yeah. But going back to what he said, you don't need that shit. It's as simple as saying you just come up with names of plants, you figure out what they do, and then you figure out if you mix them together. You don't even need to do that. You can just figure out how to make potions, and then from there you figure out the plants, and that's it. You're good. You're fine, right? It can be not plants as well. It can be just random pieces of shit that are just out in the world, right? It's whatever you want to make it to be. It's not, and I guess D&D, unless I'm mistaken, in 5e, as I go and pull Xanathar's, because it has been proven to me that I have missed some things in Xanathar's. Unless I'm mistaken, alchemy in D&D isn't, or in 5e, excuse me, isn't really a big thing.
It's kind of like crafting in 3.5.
Right. What? Oh, yeah.
There aren't rules for it, so it's kind of up to DM discretion.
You mean in 5e?
Well, also in 3.5.
No, the 3.5 has...
No, 3.5 has that.
Yeah.
I just remembered how Mez was in TableTalk, Devils and Dice.
Ah, thank you. Yeah, we go off it loosely because we don't have the time to go into it in depth. To be fair, we just kind of go daytime. Let's go because we're using milestone and we're not using XP because that is a big component of crafting in 3.5 is using your XP. So yeah, unless I'm mistaken and it's somewhere in here that I am not seeing, it's not really too big of a thing that we really have rules for. We do have alchemist supplies, and you can collect with it and such. So potentially it is in here, and I am totally willing to concede that it is in here and I just missed it. Like I missed the crafting stuff that is in here, but that's past my brain at the moment because I'm still working off of less than 3 hours. So if you have a page number for me in the future, please let me know. But anyway. So equating this to needing a fucking PhD and shit, unless and to be fair, if he says like after that, I'm kidding, all that stuff, then I'll retract, obviously.
I will hope that like he's saying that
just that it's very complicated.
Just that he's saying that sarcastically, like
right.
What's the term? Not something contusively.
He's being hyperbolic is what he's being.
Yeah, he's being hyperbolic
right.
for a comedic effect.
Yes.
I would assume that's why not like
right.
He's being like there's actual science behind it because like it's
I don't
D&D.
Yeah. What I'm gathering though is that if he's not being like hyperbolic for the sake of like, because he's not going into science, right? He's not saying there's science involved in all that kind of stuff, really. What I would assume he's saying is that it's complicated, or it can be very complicated, or unnecessarily complicated. In which case, I would go, it's as complicated as you need it to be, really. Like, it's up to you as the DM. So it's not as complicated as that, even if you're using that as a hyperbole. I don't know about you, but disease is actually caused by bad air. That's right. And it has nothing to do with tiny organisms that you can see or prove that exist, you witch. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Hey, to be fair, germ theory is just a theory.
Take that.
And myceliology.
And the study of mushrooms?
Yeah.
Why?
For the plants. We'll get there. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say,
oh, sorry, yeah.
On public record as saying, I don't believe in soap.
Okay.
I knew that would get a reaction out of you. Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Okay.
I'll just let that one hang.
They aren't going to be able to tell the difference between one ingredient and another. You could have two different mushrooms, and one could be poisonous, and the other is really good tasting.
So there is a way. It's called a nature check, as well as what are we talking about now? Are we still talking about the DM has to know this? Is this still a joke? I hope so. Let's continue.
I imagine so.
How do I convert lead to gold? Great question. You'll never know. The secrets are mine until I die.
You turn the PB into AU, and then you're done.
Oh.
You're welcome. Stupid alchemists. I solved it in 5 seconds.
So the reason why I specify botany in that small example right there is that generally traditional medicine in the real world is created via botanical elements, not normally animal elements, and a lot of that has to do.
This isn't a joke. We're continuing. This isn't a joke.
Help.
I'm
sitting here making COVID tests as part of my job.
Yeah.
And a critical portion of what we make our tests with
Yeah.
is called chicken IgY.
Yeah.
Which stands for, the IG stands for immunoglobulin.
Yes.
Y stands for, because it has generally a Y shape.
Yeah.
And chicken stands for chickens make it.
Oh! I remember this because you told me about this in depth.
I did.
Yes. So okay. So I don't retract anything yet. It doesn't have to be that complicated, friend. You can stop. This is all right. We don't need to go like we don't need to do this. Please just tell me that this is a meme. That's all I need. I just need you to tell me it's a meme.
And tell me it's one good bit.
Please. I'm desperate for it now.
Like so actually,
Yeah.
before we begin, I will happily concede that initially, yes, medicine did start off as plant-based.
Right.
The penicillin.
Yes.
However, it's not nearly as plant-based now.
No. No.
There are still like plants that are grown and like cultured because they produce like some key compound for a medicine, but like nowhere near where it used to be. And the fact that I believe you specify that modern medicine is plant-based.
Mm-hmm.
Does he specify modern medicine, or did I make that up?
Let's go back a bit. Why not?
Please.
They aren't going to be able to tell the difference between one ingredient and another. You could
Which is
have
a
two
fair
different
point.
mushrooms, and one could be poisonous and the other.
Also, as a quick side note, I threw at my players like them doing like a bit of alchemy to like kill a plant, and I did not have names for the plants yet. So they basically had to gather 4 herbicidal plants,
Mm-hmm.
4 plants to also make like a poison.
Mm.
And I did not have names for them yet because I was underprepared. And I'm like, you have like 3 of poison 1, you 2 of poison 2, like 5 of poison 3.
Right.
And I'm like, I will get you the names in just a bit. Because essentially, that is what most players will reduce those ingredients to.
Sure.
Like, they're like, oh, this plant is poison 1.
Yeah.
And until you make a full-on straight-up alchemy system, like a la Skyrim, and like each plant can have like a multitude of different effects.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, oh, it's also poison 1, but it's also like resistance to fire 3.
Sure.
Whatever. As such, I will happily concede like this, your players like not really like quote unquote knowing the difference so much as them going like, oh yeah, bitter wart is poison 3, is totally fair.
Yeah. I would say that it's not necessary for them to like out of character. Like they can know it in character just depending on background and all that kind of and like roles and such, and you can give them that information, but the point isn't that they need to know it outside of it. The point is that can they know it as in character in the game, right? Because otherwise it like if they want to go off script and start experimenting with shit, then we can start like worrying about it out of game, I guess, more so. But it doesn't matter really unless it's like very pertinent to the situation, really. So it just doesn't seem like something that needs to be brought up, really. I don't know.
Is really good tasting. So the reason why I specify botany in that small example right there is that generally traditional medicine in the real world is created via botanical elements.
Okay,
not
traditional.
Traditional, yeah. So it's not correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's accurate.
Good. Yes, it is.
I'm going to guess he's on the simulationist side of things. He could be. He very well could be. I don't know. I'm trying to piece it together, but it seems like he's heading that way.
Not normally animal elements, and a lot of that has to do with generally plants have such a different genealogy and things that they need to create to either survive or deter animals. They have those systems set up that just animals don't. Animals are predators. They have to be, to a certain degree. Predator on plants if they need to be. But, like I said, in the real world, medicine or potions are generally made using botanical elements. Now, of course, your DM could choose to make an alchemy table, as I have to integrate it into their D&D game. Shameless plug, I have it linked down in the description. It's on dmsguild.com.
Oh ho, don't mind me really quick. I just want to go see it. By the way, let me also just put the video link in the description right now, just for anybody else that is curious at the moment. It'll also be in the description in the VOD, so don't worry about that. If you're watching that in the future, and the internet isn't dead. Future. Okay. Bop, and hopefully it doesn't autoplay on this browser. Right. It did. Cool. And then I go into show more, and then I click the integrable.
Oh, you'll get there.
Is that supposed to be? I don't know. Anyway, I found it. I think 99 cents, easy. I'll do that. Am I logged in? I'm not logged in. I'll log in later and I'll buy it. But it is a thing and it is there. Okay. It's 99 cents. Dude, look, he's got like a periodic table of... Oh, he's got a whole video for this also. Very cool. Okay. Well, I'll look into it later. He might explain more. Anyway.
I think it's pretty good. Probably going to get an update soon.
Oh.
But firstly... you can't really do that because it's a lot of extra time for the DM.
Sorry.
You have to be able...
So, you can if you're willing to. If you don't want to, that's fine. You also, dare I say, can make it as complex as you're making it sound, or make it simple. It's just... both of these things can happen.
To, as the DM, then determine what kind of useful fungus your player's halfling rogue might find in between a troll's toes and determine whether or not it's going to be poisonous or somehow helpful in some type of beneficial potion.
Yeah, this is actually an interesting point to bring up. Your player, who is the alchemist, who has decided to become this alchemist thing that you are now like having to deal with, might say, can I take blood from this monster? Can I take this piece of this monster? Can I take... And you now have to figure out if that is something that you want to worry about or not, right? Because many monsters exist, and whether or not they all can be made into things that you can drink or apply is very much something you need to figure out. It's gonna be a big thing because they will keep asking. So figure it out, I guess, at that point or before.
You don't know. You'd have to write that out. That's a whole lot of extra stuff. Then you'd have to write what it looks like, what it smells like, what it tastes like. That's a lot of extra work.
Okay.
And
or
honestly,
you can say easily identifiable by you as such and such.
Yeah. You are an expertise. You created this. You know what it smells like, you know what it tastes like, you have seen this kind of thing before, or make a check to see if you know the composition of this or what it is because of the smell or all of the above, right? Again, we can complicate it as much as we want, or we can make it as simple as we want. It's really up to us as the DM. And if you want it to be very realistic, there's nothing wrong with that. That is fine. I guess what I would like from this is for you to put that stance more so as like, I mean, I guess I'm getting it now, but I'm almost 3 minutes into your 7-minute video, because I thought you were joking before, and I had no idea, and I wasn't set as like a preamble of this is like to make it realistic, right? You're just telling me why it's terrible, and that was the impression that I had, and I'm confused as to why this is bad, I guess. Is this bad? I don't... Is it bad if I want to put in more work? I don't think so, inherently, and I don't think that's making it terrible in 5e. Is it bad that, as far as I'm aware, 5e doesn't have rules that are very easily accessible for alchemy? I think that is bad, personally. I don't know if it's objectively bad, but I definitely think that it's not helpful to new players and new DMs, as well as experienced, to figure out how the system works in this respect. So I guess we'll continue.
It's not like the DM's guide is much help in really supporting the alchemy playstyle with campaigns.
Sure.
And, like, honestly, if you're planning on getting the DMG, just don't. You will be wasting...
A sentiment that we have also shared. All right. Though I wouldn't strictly say don't if you're new.
Actually, give me 1 second.
All right, I will give you a second. Yeah, I will agree though that the DMG doesn't really give you much in terms of specifics for a lot of things. So potentially it's not helpful if this is your goal, right? You need Xanathars for crafting. You need and again, I will check again whilst we have this moment, you and I together and apart, to make sure. So I have crafting magic items. Would you count it as a magic item? Potentially. There's also crafting an item, which also lists like potions of healing and antitoxin from your herbalism kit, but that's not necessarily the same thing. This is on page 128 of Xanathar's Guide to Everything. That's where you can find the crafting stuff that's here for your downtime. Though, you know, we've talked about downtime and all that. Potion of healing creation is on page 130 in there. Which, yeah, it takes 4 work weeks to make a supreme one and 10,000 gold. That's very good to know. But does it really?
Sure. I was going to alright, so I keep all of my D&D books like
Yes.
in a line, like in order on my shelf, organized by usefulness.
Yes.
And of them all, the DMG is dead last, so I always know where it is.
Very good.
But I actually mentioned this particular line in a Reddit comment the other day.
Okay.
And there it is. I was stalling for time while I was finding a comment. I knew it'd be faster to find the comment than like the part in the book.
Right.
But the DMG can be actually really useful to new players. Insofar as if when you are a new DM, like I was at one point, who has a player who has a, but that's not the rules, so you can't do that DM mentality like I did. It's so that you can reference them to page 4 of the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yes.
Under the section The Dungeon Master.
Right.
It says, quote, "The D&D rules help you and the other players have a good time, but the rules aren't in charge. You're the DM and you're in charge."
That's right. That is true.
And that's all that's useful in the DMG.
Usually, yeah. It doesn't even need to be said, but it needs to be said. So, but yeah.
Your money unless you have some reason to collect all the books like I do. It's honestly feels criminal that WotC can sell you a book that says that it's going to help new DMs and have it actually be useless.
Okay, well, let's calm down. Calm down. It's not actually useless. Come on.
Yeah, it's got the one line in it.
It does have the one line in it. But like for new DMs, it is more useful than it is for anybody else that is more experienced.
Yeah.
So
welcome to capitalism, brother.
I know. No, I get like, but what I'm saying is like it's not like it is actually useless. Like we can't.
Yeah. No, I would describe it as marginally useful.
Yes.
Useful by technicality.
I've been DMing for like 7 years and maybe pulled it out 8 times.
Okay, see that you've already like immediately you said for new players and then you said I've been DMing for 7 years. So did you start with 5e? This is the question now. Answer it, please.
I copied like 2 charts that are useful, but you can find those online. I mean, that's why D&D YouTube channels exist, is because the DM's guide is literal hot garbage.
Okay.
Very passionate about
very
this
much
point.
Okay. Even I mean I just say don't get it usually. That's where I leave it. It's fine. Your video. Do whatever you want, I guess.
But back to the video though.
Oh.
How do you really implement an alchemy system into the game? Where you don't really have the mental capacity to really remember, okay, that fungus in between the troll's toes is beneficial, it smells like ass, it tastes kind of like it has the texture of like berries mixed with like fish scales.
That's why I wrote it down.
You're not going to remember all that crap while you're trying to run initiative and you're trying to take care of everything else in the dungeon. That's just so much extra work for you. So
PDF.
What I've found works best is throwing out realism entirely. Plants.
Oh, that's okay.
Not a simulationist.
There we go. Not a simulationist. You had me for a moment. Now I'm more in your camp. Here we go. For this particular ruling.
What are plants? Okay. Your party just killed a troll. Cool. Trolls' hearts, you can say, cause their regenerative ability. That's the source of their regenerative ability.
Sure.
And you could then say, okay, those are used for healing potions. And maybe a troll's heart makes a superior healing potion, but maybe their adrenal gland makes a normal healing potion, or one of their kidneys. Something along those lines. Or maybe just a bit of their flesh. You don't know. It depends on how rare you want to make trolls. Or maybe you want to really delve deep into the fantasy components to justify potion creation. Maybe you can say that a lich's eyeball is used for true sight potions. You as the DM have to decide what potions are most likely going to appear in your campaign and make a quick formula. And then as the campaign goes on, maybe insert it as something that's buyable or something that's in a witch's book, and your players can use that to then be able to make their own potions with alchemy tools, which are literally, I think, the most useless things in the game unless you actually use them as D&D 5e wants you to, and it takes like 2 hours to make a standard healing potion.
I
I just found the guide for healing potions in Xanathars. Hang on. I just want to check. This is page 130. It actually takes a day. So it's actually longer.
I mean, anything can be useless if you just don't use it. Like lockpicks are useless if you don't use them.
Yeah, exactly. Like it really depends on how you implement them, right?
The real challenge is finding something or making something that's useless no matter how it's used.
Yeah.
That is hard.
That I wouldn't say that that's possible, like just off the cuff.
Oh yeah, it is.
But I mean, I'm sure it is. That's the thing. I would think of a use for most things. So, just because I get things that I find useful.
I have 2 items in particular that I'm very proud of.
Okay.
Is it what minutes? Made. There it is. So the first of which is the Orb of Weather Divination. It is you can buy it for 45 gold. It is a seemingly mundane looking rock that tells the user what the weather is.
Yep.
If the rock is wet, it is raining.
Yep.
If the rock is rolling away, it is windy.
Yep.
If the rock is jumping up and down, there is an earthquake.
Right.
If the rock is hot, it is sunny.
Yes.
If the rock is covered in snow, it is snowing. Requires attunement, only works if outside.
Yes. So you say it's useless. It's still a rock.
Fair.
Yeah. So I found a use for it already. Continue.
You can use the same logic to justify the next magic item I have.
Probably.
Which is a scroll of True Sight. Okay. Not True Sight, sorry, True Strike.
Ah, yes.
It allows you to cast True Strike as a ritual, so 10-minute cast.
Yes.
Can only be used in combat.
Yes.
Yeah.
That just sucks.
Still useful. It truly does.
It still has a use, but it sucks. I would never buy it.
I delight in making horrible items.
Fair enough. Hold on. I smell something, and I assume my roommate is cooking. I will check later. It's really hard to make something that's useless even when used. Challenge accepted. There you go. I love Weatherstone. Unfortunately, the Weatherstone can only be used to determine the weather. No. How?
Yeah, it's like I made where is it? The magical rock of breaking and entering.
Yep, that's right. I remember
You buy it from caravans for 5 gold, and it can be thrown into a window to break the window.
That's right.
And it's useful because it doesn't matter how thick the window is, it will break the window.
Yeah.
So it's useful in that regard, but it will send you after the rock. Like you'll throw the rock and it will bust through the window.
Yeah.
Then it will hurl you bodily into the room that you just covered the floor with broken glass.
Yeah.
And you may land on your feet, you may not.
Oh, nice. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get some water really quick. It won't take me more than a couple of seconds.
Of course.
You can entertain them. Have fun.
Yes. But that was something I threw at my players, literally just to give them a chance to waste their money. Because I was like, this item is next to worthless. Not totally worthless, but next to worthless. But my players will be fixated by it. So yeah, I had really hoped Alejo would be back by now. I didn't figure it like take this long for him. That he would like simply get some tap water or like a bottle of water and then like go walk back. But yeah, how's everyone's day doing? Um, if Alejo comes back, if you would tell him that I entertained you, I would be appreciative. Let me open this up so I can actually see chat. Oh, by the way, Con, it's specifically not the Weatherstone. You must refer it to the Orb of Weather Divination in a very like important tone. Is he back? Sounds like he's back.
I'm sorry. Hello.
Hello. I have successfully entertained them and quite well, might I say.
Oh, good. I now have water and also went down and saw that my roommate had not turned the range on for the fan, and so I was like, oh, so I did that. Anyway, it was just a simple mistake. He thought he had turned it on. So let's continue, huh?
I would prefer it.
And costs like 10 gold pieces to make the healing potion. It's insane. It's really OP, but no one uses it because it's stupid.
Oh.
Anyway.
No one uses it because it's... So, I'm confused as to why... Is it terrible because...
No one uses it because it's stupid, and because no one uses it, it is stupid.
And also, is that what makes it terrible? Is
Yes,
that what... Because...
I don't know.
I'm so confused. Is it... Like... I'm assuming... Okay, this is my assumption, and please, feel free to prove me wrong. Luke's homebrew, yeah, Luke. Are you saying that it can be so complicated and that makes it terrible? And so what we should do is not make it complicated, and thus it is not terrible, and that is how we fix it? We just kind of go with the flow more so? Is that what we're saying? Because if that's the case, then I say, for you it's terrible because it can be so complicated, I guess, but for other people, making a table of what things do and how to make things might be fun. So I'm very confused as to, I just want a clear answer as to why this is terrible, because you're going into like fixes, quote unquote, I guess, to this one scenario of making it so overcomplicated. In which case I go, is it overcomplicated because you think it's complicated to the point of it being overcomplicated, or because somebody else has complained, or many people complain that if you use alchemy in D&D, it has to be complex? Because I don't think that's a thing that people are saying either. So I just want clear and concise points and messaging, please.
Anyways, getting back to the video. You have to decide what's going to be in that quick formula. Make it logically consistent, of course. No one likes the guy that says fairy dust makes you smell bad and leak goo.
You know what? 100% with you. Make your things logically consistent. That's just good advice. Good job.
Fairy dust makes you fly. You fool. And honestly, the best part of all of it is that now that if you have a player that wants to really get into alchemy, that's something that they're delving into, whether they're a blood hunter, whether they're a wizard or a warlock, you have so much fuel for them now to go on quests outside the city, outside the town, to hunt that Medusa for an ingredient for that poison of petrification they've always wanted. So that is my recommendation, is go out, write on a piece of paper, and say, hey, X plus Y equals this type of potion.
So we're making a table of what ingredients make a potion, and we're just not including plants? Is that the overall consensus now? because that makes it more simple because you don't need a biology degree or a mycology degree. Is it mycology? I think it's mycology.
I think he's past that now. I think.
Okay.
I don't think it has to do with like removing like plants or anything like that. Like
Okay.
he's just saying. I think he's just saying be consistent, and it's easy to make spreadsheets.
But he was against making that, though.
Character development.
Oh.
People
So
change.
an inconsistency is character development now. I see you, Disney writer.
Shit, he got me.
Overall, this is confusing, and we're 7 minutes in of a 7-minute and 45-second video, so great. Good. I'm happy.
And then make it logically consistent. Do that for the most common potions you have, probably healing for sure. And then go ahead and make a potion of fly, make a potion of true sight. Whatever you think your players would want to do and make. And also what monsters you want to run. Because this is a great excuse for you to find a monster that you can have your party fight. But go out, write, and hunt my fellow players and DMs. And as always...
So then I would immediately say you're just telling me to do what I would... What was with the plant thing then? What if I want to make it plant-based? I could just make up plants and make up monsters.
No, because that's stupid.
Oh. You see, literally the logic that you are using is make it easier on yourself by using monsters instead of plants. And I go, why don't I make it easy on myself by using plants instead of monsters?
I think I'm too smooth-brained to understand it, so
Okay.
I will just say good video.
Okay. Okay, let me just play the rest of it out.
Have a good one, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.
That contextualized everything. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to, if he was going to promote anything on his channel or anything, I was going to let it play out, but okay.
Bullshit.
Oh, hey, Boo.
Fucking me. Ow, fuck.
Hi.
Hello.
You've made it to the end.
I did make it to the end. Are we still fucking recording?
Yes.
We are.
Good. Okay. Con of 7.
And this is your third host, Prince Boo.
That's right.
All right. Memes. Where's the memes? Memes. There's the memes.
Oh, yeah, I already showed those off in the beginning.
Yeah. Con of
This-
7.
this
You son of a
memes.
bitch. You got it wrong.
I knew it. Okay, I was going to ask you.
Yeah. That's wrong.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
wanted-
talking about
you-
the Reitman. I'm
you
not
wanted-
talking about Harry Potter.
You wanted
I'm talking
Kelly.
about Snape.
You wanted Kelly, not, fuck.
Okay.
Mm.
God. Yeah, not
M name. Monty.
Monty. I was gonna
Right.
say Molly,
Yeah.
but I was actually kind of close.
You're getting there, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, no. It's
Damn
wrong,
it, I'll
wrong
fix
one.
it. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. Yeah, because I was like, I woke up and
Yeah.
I saw all the texts. I mean, I saw all the messages, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I checked the memes. Like, oh boy, I do like memes, and I'm like, yes. Correct meme for Aiden with Harry
Yes.
Potter being
Monty.
older Harry
I believe.
Potter, and then Snape being older Harry Potter. I'm like, no, wrong. And then I was worried, like, was I saying the guy on the right the whole time? And I needed to make sure that that was not the case.
Well, you did, and I'm proud of you. Good job.
Yes, I made it in time. Bullshit awoken me from the sleep of the old ones because I'm the oldest one in the group.
That's right.
Con, I had not seen your Daniel Radcliffe at home.
Yeah,
It was very good.
Oh my god, I love it.
It was
That's really
very,
good.
Very good.
it's really good.
Well,
Oh man.
that being said, we're going to move on to comments, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
So, if you want to stick around for those, Boo, you are more than welcome.
Yeah, sure. I just
Okay.
woke up.
Fair enough. comments. First one from Timothy Martin on our last episode says, "What's up, bros? Hope you had a good time on vacation. First things first, I never heard of the Purple Dragon Knight. Sounds pretty cool. With charisma being one of the main strengths, along with being a good battlefield leader and friend. Kind of reminds me of Ganzif Stronov from Overlord, unless I am remembering the character wrong."
Gazef.
Gazef. Okay.
Yeah. He's a cool dude.
Okay.
Anyway.
But hopefully the subclass can make a comeback. P.S. Sorry I spelled the Overlord character wrong. I have not seen how the name looks on paper. Lol. Thanks for the show, guys, and have a nice day. Thumbs up.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, no, you're good. Vacation was good. Thank you. And then John Parker on episode 35. He's making his way through. This was when we talked about Vampire the Masquerade and more horror in RPGs. Oh my god, I'm getting a knock at my door. Hang on.
Oh my god.
Hold,
you have a door?
A moment. Yes, my roommate has been making food, and I'm going to take that food. Man. That's right. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Yep.
Probably be able to.
How's your tuna steak?
Very welcome. Oh, appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Hi, I'm back.
Hello. So two things.
Yes.
First of which is your dinner sounds delicious.
Thank you.
Second of which is I have no idea what your roommate's name is, but I don't need to know because I'm naming the butcher.
Okay. It's not his name.
It doesn't matter. He's naming him that.
I understand. Anyway, I'll eat this after reading. So. Well, that's a good potato. So, continuing. Hellsing Ultimate Abridged is my favorite vampire content in the last 5 years. Drive as a skill makes complete sense. Driving is something that can be done with varying levels of expertise. If you were to set Gandalf, Legolas, or Frodo behind the wheel of a station wagon, I would expect them to struggle with starting the vehicle, let alone controlling it like a professional stunt driver. Wei, I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Wei Zijun from the anime Darker Than Black?
Oh, I've never seen that one.
And never seen another.
All right, the weebs don't know, so we can continue.
Oh, wait, no, I have seen Darker Than Black. That's the Batman, but he has electric powers.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh.
Okay. I'll add it to the list. Is it good?
I actually quite liked it.
All right, I'll add it to the list. So yeah, from the anime Darker Than Black is the most interesting use of blood powers I've encountered. He's a contractor person with a superpower, but they become emotionless and have to perform or do something called an obsolescence. Obsolescence? Yeah. Every time they use their powers, whose power is to make his blood explode.
Oh.
Okay. Is it obeisance?
Obeisance.
Obeisance. Thank you.
Like, there's one guy who every time he uses his power, he has to eat, like, a bag of cheeseburgers.
That's great. Okay. I love that. His obeisance is that he has to cut himself. This creates a cycle where the longer he is in combat, the more likely he is to pass out. But he can also create a wider spray of explosive blood whenever he throws it around.
Interesting.
That's cool. And to be fair to the second video, there's a high likelihood that there are people out there whose only experience with vampires is the Twilight books/movies. In my opinion, Twilight is about a teenage girl's choice between necrophilia and bestiality. Easy joke, yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then, well, what do you know? John Parker. On episode 36, even more startling horror setting tips. My favorite horror movie/franchise, Cube, doesn't include several items from How to Be a Great GM's list. I like Cube. Cube is good. If you guys haven't seen Cube, you should.
I haven't.
Oh, it's actually really good.
I believe it.
There isn't an evil being / creature. The climax is hard to pin down in the movie due to the slow burn of the death maze that is the titular cube or naked women. What?
I like naked women.
The slow burn, apparently. One of the horror tropes that How to Be a Great GM didn't include. Oh, that was probably in reference to what How to Be a Great GM said.
Oh,
Because he was talking about weird stuff that time, remember?
that's right.
About
yeah.
tasting semen and such.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. How
Yeah.
could I forget about that?
How could you forget?
I don't know.
One of the horror tropes that How to Be a Great GM didn't include was the encroaching corruption / becoming the monster. One of the main reasons why werewolves are horrifying, other than being someone's persona, is the threat of becoming like them and losing control.
Don't you make me link the Flash Gets like furry videos?
Many
Remember
classic
them?
horror monsters include
Yeah.
Many classic
Yes,
horror
there you
monsters
go.
include some kind of physical or mental corruption that plagues normal people, including most protagonists.
See, I don't understand how you guys can't see Snape in Kelly. I don't get it.
I don't
Rao
see
and
him.
Rickman. Like even when it's like
I
side by
see it.
side?
I really don't.
I
Damn.
don't see it.
That's so weird.
The elements of horror movies that
All I see is Harry Potter in Subway. I'm sorry.
the elements of horror movies that always get me every time, even if there is no follow through, is as follows: chopping vegetables, especially carrots, while holding a conversation or otherwise distracted from the task of chopping the vegetables. Fair enough. And 2, kitchen sinks with garbage disposals. There you go. And then John Parker on episode 38, tying tangents on horror and rant on consistency. Yeah. Greeting once again, my fellow Halloweenies. First, I have 3 vampire stories to relate. Oh.
Okay.
The first vampire story is from around 2002, when 3rd edition hadn't yet gained its revision, and wilderness lore and known direction were still their own skills. I was playing my first character, a druid by the name Mononoke. She had, during the course of the adventure, acquired a dire bear, whose name I can't recall. How could you? As an animal companion, with the animal friend spell. Druids used to have to cast a spell on an animal to get a companion, and the limit on animals was total hit die of the lot, rather than a single animal that grows with the character. Our adventuring group came upon a coven of vampires and were attacked at night. Both of the stalwart dwarven frontliners, a fighter and a barbarian, fell under the thrall of the vampire that ambushed our campsite. They proceeded to attack my bear. I did not take that very well, and had my bear flatten them with my assistance. Very good. The rest of the group drove the vampire off, and we tracked it back to its lair, and staked it, chopped off its head, placed a wafer in its mouth, and submerged the head in running water. So you did all the steps. Very good.
Ooh.
Overkill, some might say, but I would say just enough.
Yeah, just enough kill.
I also reincarnated the dwarves later. Oh. I think one of them came back as a bugbear, and the other one returned as an elf. Nice.
Okay.
There's more. Oh, hang on. Fix the meme. Now off to bed. Driving to Indianapolis for Gen Con tomorrow. Oh, have fun.
All right. See ya.
Oh, Brogan's going to Gen Con this
Yeah.
Tuesday,
Let me
this
know
Thursday.
if you see Brogan.
That's right. Yeah, let us know if you see Brogan. Anyway, continuing on. The other 2 stories are much more recent, taking place in 2021, and played using D&D 3.5. The second vampire story involves the party attempting to recover the paladin's ancestral home from a coven of vampires known as the Heptad. Excuse me while I take a drink. My character, Alora Dorfiel, is a female elven wizard that focuses on support magic, haste, web, solid fog, wall spells, etc. She rarely directly involves herself in direct combat, and considers directly harming others beneath her and the responsibility of the lesser races. Yes, she is
directly.
Yes. She is a racist elf and has been getting better about the half-breed mongrels she is traveling with. Fair enough.
How racist is she? Would you say directly?
Probably directly, yeah.
Probably directly.
Directly racist.
Yes.
Like, also directly racist, being, like, racist directly to them.
Right, yes.
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 In their general direction.
Directly to the lesser races, located directly beneath the elves.
Yes. Anyway.
True. We fairly easily explored the manor and eliminated vampire spawn and various undead and living thralls and constructed guardians. The final confrontation took place against 3 members of the Heptad and their pet fiendish Gorgon. The vampires were able to fight us outside in the sunlight due to an alchemical substance called liquid night, basically SPF 5000 sunblock. When the paladin had been struck down and the vampire leader was ready to perform a coup de grace and using his positioning to force us to negotiate, I came up with an ingenious plan. I cast Prestidigitation and rushed the vampire leader and used the cleaning function to clean the filthy vampire's face and expose him to the sun. The leader was too far out in the open to make it to safety and crumbled to ash.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty good, actually, for a use of a fucking 0 level fucking kit.
That's good.
Yeah. In the meantime, the rest of the group rallied and brought the paladin back from death, and chased off the rest of the now fleeing vampires. That is the story of how a cantrip destroyed a 15th level vampire. Very good.
Holy fuck.
Dude, that's
level.
great.
Jesus.
My third vampire story comes... Oh, sorry.
As a DM, that had to sting.
Oh, probably. My third vampire story comes from a scenario I DM'd. The party was traveling from a major city to the backcountry on a task to find an adventuring group that was delinquent on their adventuring charter fees. On their way, they happened upon a roadside inn. They were chased to the inn by a mob of wights across a bridge and found shelter at the inn after outrunning the undead on their horses. The inn was run by a pair of young women that appeared to be retired adventurers and only had double or single rooms. That night, the party was awakened by the sound of combat as the vampires attacked them in their separate rooms. The rooms were able to be covertly locked from the outside, which was done by the vampires prior to attacking by traveling into the room by turning into gaseous form and moving through small holes in the floorboards underneath heavy furniture. The party managed to overcome the vampires and tracked down their coffins in the inn's basement beneath the kitchen. They also found the bodies of the other victims, including the original owners of the inn, as undead kept in pens in the woods that were evidently kept to frighten travelers toward the apparent safety of the inn. Very cool. And then again, John Parker on episode 38. One of my favorite sources of inspiration for D&D is Magic the Gathering and its various planes and settings. The best settings from Magic the Gathering for horror are Innistrad and Shadowmoor. I know of Innistrad, I think. Innistrad is essentially a plane made of gothic horror tropes and is very reminiscent of Ravenloft, yes. Shadowmoor is the dark mirror of Lorwyn, an idyllic fairy tale world. One of the major dangers of Shadowmoor is the rampaging scarecrows created by the Kithkin, but animated by the malevolent nature of the plane. That's cool. And then
the name Kithkin rings a bell, but God, if I could remember it exactly.
It sounds like there is that bug race from D&D that is, I want to say, something, Kareth, something.
Thrycreen?
Thrycreen, yes, those.
Oh, okay. They live in deserts, though.
Yeah. That's the only thing that came to mind, though, with Kithkin.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then finally, Lux on our last episode says, I don't know enough about 5e classes to form an opinion on the overall topic of this video. Just reading the Purple Dragon Knight class on the wiki, though, with no other knowledge of 5e, I think it looks cool. I'd probably play one if I had the chance. Yeah. Or call it a banneret if the actual Purple Dragon Knight isn't possible in context. Though I might try to see if the DM would be willing to let a true Purple Dragon Knight get isekai'd into their setting.
Yeah.
Fair enough, yeah. If they're really suboptimal, I suppose I'd be willing to make a few adjustments to keep them from dragging the party, but I don't really see anything about them that would put me off from playing one as is. While I see how assassins don't really fit into the general theme of a typical D&D campaign, I don't see that problem with Purple Dragon Knights. They're described as knights errant, which fits directly into the theme of a standard D&D adventurer. Anyway, I'll give your voice a break this week, but you should really keep some water around when you know you'll be reading my comments. There is a toll to be paid when you commune with the light of Armok. Thank you, yes. I try to, and I have some now. That is a short Lux comment.
Oh my god.
Yes.
That was it?
That was it.
Holy shit.
That was it, and I appreciate the rest of my voice. But yeah, that's that. Thank you again to you know what, before I do that, let me post the new meme.
Oh,
because
yes.
I want to show off the meme in its true form.
Yes.
Let me just go. Yeah, there it is. Let me just get that, and then get this, and then get this, and then go here and put it there, and open it there, and then go here. There we are.
Quite a process.
Yeah, you know, it goes to my default browser, which is a different browser, you know. Yeah. Okay, you know what? Now that I'm looking at it
Finally.
a little bit more, I see it in the hairstyle and the beard style, and that is it.
I see it a bit in the nose and the beard style, but
You don't
think
see it in like the nose and eyes.
No.
Really?
Not as much.
I don't see it in the eyes.
No. I see it. Let me zoom in.
I do see it in the nose, but like I think when you compare like Alan Rickman versus Daniel Radcliffe,
Right.
like
well, so
it's Daniel Radcliffe.
I'm looking at Rickman's nose, and his nose is shaped in a very specific way, whilst Kelly's nose here is a lot less there's like a definite bump on the left side of Alan Rickman's nose if you look at it in that picture.
Yeah.
So like that is like throwing me off more from Kelly's nose, I think, which is why I'm not seeing it as much, I'm pretty sure. And then just I don't think the rest of him, except for the hairstyle, which...
And I get it also from like the facial structure, because Monty's face is a lot... It doesn't feel as long, whereas Kelly's face is just long enough for me, where they have the same type of profile. Hell, I can even see it in like with the hairstyle, as you were saying.
Yeah.
I can see it in the ears now.
Also, am I still required here, or can I go grocery shopping?
You may go grocery shopping. Yes, I'm wrapping it all up. Go on.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. All right. See you, boys.
Be gone.
See you.
Yes.
So yeah. With that meme out of the way, thank you again to our patrons. That is Draco, Kraken, Mugzio, Rick, aka Unit Rico, Slazer, Steely, Drake, Cross, Chris, Frozen Spaghetti, Kill Chrono, Lux the Oracle, and of course our Tier 1 patron. Thank you to all of you out there who have stuck around, who have watched us in the future and everything. Consider, for a moment, liking the video if you liked it. If you didn't like the video, also dislike it. That's fine.
Because dislikes don't mean anything anymore.
Really doesn't mean anything. Yeah, if you really don't want to make us succeed or have anything, then don't engage with the video whatsoever. That's
But you're already watching it, so too late.
Yeah, if you got to this point, then I figure you probably have some kind of interest. In which case, I would say consider subscribing. Maybe clicking that little fucking bell thing, because otherwise you won't get notified, I guess, sometimes. And even then, sometimes you won't get notified anyway, but it's just another added layer of maybe. So I'm doing all I can, and you should too.
Adding I don't even know what it would be. Adding shit to the net, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. Throwing it
What
all
would that
over
even
it.
be?
I-
Adding ropes to the net?
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah. I'm weaving more holes out of the net.
Yeah. You'll still happen to fall through them, though. Don't worry.
Yeah. They're not going to be that small holes, probably. Anyway, that's it.
Terrible net weaver.
Yes, absolutely. I want to eat this food, so I will.
Okay.
We'll see you all next week for whatever the fuck we talk about next week.
And hopefully, I'll actually be awake for that one. Like for the majority of it. Anyway.
Yeah. So we'll see you later.
Yeah.
Bye.